Sashi Puki Juching Mito Cham Dira Shin Yinde Gimpati Sange Shin Tiwagi Chuma Idam Guru Rana Mandala Kamira Tayami. It's tradition to do it that fast sometimes, you know that?
You said you'd teach us the hand gesture.
Okay, real quick. Oh, yeah. If you take it like this, right? You put the two ring fingers together. Okay, they go side by side. It's hard to break it down. I always have to keep doing it. Wait. Where am I?
Thumbs grab the pinky. The ring finger stands straight up.
The pinky?
And the pointer grabs the
yeah, opposite thumb and pinky. Yeah, thank you, Laura. Cool. Who else? Who else got it? You know how to do it? Oh, that's good. Well, it's okay. It's okay.
We'll work on it tonight.
Okay.
Stay with me.
Oh, good. So you got Mount Meru here.
These two together. Wingman stands up.
Mount Meru.
I still can't get it yet, but all right.
You have it?
I know you know what it is.
Ooh. It's okay. We'll give her a clean text one day. It's okay. Okay. Now with all that, you know you just offered the universe really well by thinking of that. There I go for trying to think I could do a short mandala, huh? You got me, huh? Okay. I could have done the long mandala in that time. You know we're on to a new text now, right? You understand that we finished one prayer. That was one prayer. Okay? That can be recited every day. Can be. Oh, the mantra 7 times. The mantra 7 times. Tomorrow we'll recite both of them together, and because there's a couple of 3 times this and that. Actually, it only comes up once, you know. So then we'll get a feel of it doing together. We'll do both of them. We'll recite the whole thing together. Okay. Mantra 7 times is enough. 3 is okay. No less than 3.
That was Rinpoche?
Not sure. Probably. This is the source of all my good. Yuntin Shogima. It is also a Guru Yoga text. Lam Rim, brief Lam Rim, starting with the first step of Lam Rim, which is your Guru Yoga, seeing your Lama as a Buddha. First step. If you must get a feeling by now that any high spiritual quality, forgetting about all your other qualities, but any real high spiritual quality that you could ever get is coming from somebody, from something. How's that? Okay? It's coming from something. It didn't arise from no cause. You have to think, well, then what are the reasons that you experience anything good in your life? Like, where do they come from? And then, how can I get more? You know, we want good qualities. We want happiness. So anything good, you want to think not only where did it come from, but mainly you want to know where it came from, so you can think about, well, how can I get more? You know, the source of all my good is a very brief presentation of every essential step that you will need to find the highest of happiness. In Ganden Nigama, we went through all the steps of creating the causes to find your own personal Holy Lama, and to recognize that they're there with you, with extensive visualizations and actions and, you know, things that you can actually do in relationship with them. And in our life, they manifest. You must recognize them and do the right thing. They're there, but you must recognize them, and then you have to do the right thing, the proper behaviors, the proper attitudes, and so on and so forth. And you're only going to gain from it. There is nothing to lose. And when you think about your Lama, there has to be this kind of faith and belief, you know. Even if you just think of the heavens and those clouds and all the essence of the teachings coming through to you and so on and so forth, you have to have some sort of belief that it's actually going to happen. Otherwise, you know, the effect is going to be very minimal, right? Actually, you probably still get a little something. But you'll find that even this you're going to have to develop, that kind of faith and trust in a guru. You're gonna have to develop that. And if you just think about what we just did, the visualization of Ganden and Jason Kappa and the lotus and the sword and all that stuff, right? Just think about that for a second. You'll see it as either imagined, right? Because you're imagining it, right? So in your mind, you're thinking, oh, well, this is something imagined. This is something, or you're going to say also, not only is it imagined, it's outside of myself. You know, it's this thing I'm imagining, or it's this thing that I'm just seeing that's out there. Or you might see it as somewhere, well, I can't really ever be there. Or I'm not there now. Because we see it in these ways that I mentioned, because what's happening is we're questioning our own goodness. That we have some sort of a doubt that whether or not we can have it all. There's some doubt still. You have to develop the divine pride that you will have all that you dream of and more that you can't even imagine. If you understand the most effective and beneficial ways to take yourself to the one who can guide you to achieve such goals, then they will show you how to do it. Step by step by step. This special guide will add everything to your life. You need the personal advice. You need it. We all do. Sometimes I know that you hear teachings and they speak to you personally right away. That's your personal advice too, because you feel like, you're the only one here hearing it. It's saying exactly what, for you. You feel it. Yunten Shugima, the source of all my good, it will tell us what those steps are, and once you've found your heart Lama, they will actually take you through them as it applies to you personally. Because we're going to go through all the steps till enlightenment, and then how it applies to you personally, you almost you just need the guide, and you almost, I'm going to lay out the steps that are in this Lamrim, this very brief Lamrim, but you don't even need to really worry about the steps because they will guide you there. You see what I'm saying? You should know what they are, but even if you don't know what they are, you'll still get there because you have that one to guide you. You see? So you need that spiritual friend, your personal spiritual friend, to not only guide you but to pass on to you these spiritual qualities that will bring you happiness. You have to learn to rely on this person, how to commit to this person, and all depends on your spiritual friend, Yunchen Shugima, the source of all my good. So we're going to just talk just a little bit about how to be with your root Lama, right? Because we went through generating this paradise, and they're there in the heavens, and raining upon us all their wisdom, and the wisdom going into our hearts, and so on and so forth. But and then they're there, right? They're in front of us. We see them there. And then you're like, okay, now, how do I be with them? So here are some of the things that one day you should learn it more extensively. Okay? And just briefly, you have to kind of know, in order to even to know how to be with your root Lama, you need to know what are the benefits of even having one. Right? You want to know, well, why? Why do I need that? if you could just throw yourself out there and say, okay, you say I need one, I'll do it, but that won't last very long. We need to know why. We like to know why. We do.
You will have all that you want and more than you ever imagined.
Oh, there you go. That's one. Yeah. That works for you. You know what I mean? That's true. Exactly. Thank you. And then the benefits of finding, and what are the benefits of committing to them? She's like, okay, wait, you didn't cover that part. And then, number 2, that was 1. Number 2 is the problems that might come to you if you are not acting properly. 3, how to relate to the guru mentally. And then, of course, how to physically and verbally act in front of them. And again, you need to study that extensively. We'll just cover a little bit of it, but that's a whole teaching in itself. I could explain it to you based on my own personal experience and observations. It's hard to convey what a true disciple would do for a minute of teaching. You can tell your devotion based on what you would do for 1 minute of teaching. Only you know what you're able to do. Just look at the fact that you all are still here. Shows, okay? Something. A level of devotion. You may not know to what yet, but it's there. To take yourself to a guru, you first think what to do when you approach a Lama and the teachings. Approach it as you would gold. You test it till you're sure if it's gold. There's a certain way of testing gold. There's a certain way and tools to use to cut it, to file it, to burn it, to test it if it's real gold. And in the scripture, that's how you should approach the Lama. You test them in that way. You have to put them through these tests to see if they pass. And you should. Just as well the teachings, they say. Okay? So for example, let's say, one of the things you can test is, would the teacher hurt you? true guru will ask you, for example, to be kind to others on the highest level, right? Advise you not to speak badly to, others. They'll explain to you why you should not lie. Generally these are good tests whether a person is a proper teacher. You can kind of go through, different of the 10 and different, there's other qualities that you could be looking at and testing. And then you look at some of the benefits of finding a Heart Lama is to find someone who could help us be liberated. And then you think, okay, yeah, sure. What is liberation? Right? Breaking out of the cycle of violence and suffering, the habitual pattern of suffering in the world. In order to seek liberation, first you must know what it is to suffer. You may even have to reach a very low point of desperation, to really realize that this world does not work the way that you always thought it did, and you want to get out. You recognize there is something higher and much better. It depends on your own experiences, what you have to go through to realize that. And then it's when you reach that point of realizing there's something that occurs, you say, okay, well, I can guess how to do that, but I really would like someone to help me out. Like even when you're not feeling well, basic everyday suffering, you're just a little sick, right? Sometimes it's nice, you're all alone and in your bed and, nobody bothers you. But sometimes it's like, can someone just go get me some soup? Can someone just bring me, you realize you need a little help. So can you imagine the big sufferings? You're not going to need help when you only need it when you have a cold or a toothache or something like that. It's ridiculous not to think that you don't need help. Just think how it is. When you're just not feeling well, how it's nice to have just a little bit of help, whatever it is. They can go to the store and get you some tissues. I don't know. The little things. It comes up, right? If not, you're reaching for something that you remember was a comfort, right? That was help to you, even if it's not the person. We're always doing that. And you can visualize that person who gave it to you, and it gives you comfort when you're not feeling well. So the big sufferings, how could you not recognize that you need that true spiritual friend who understands how to get out of that suffering? I need someone to guide, to protect me, to take care of me. They will tell you this step to take now. Now go this way. Always personally, just for you. They will guide you out of that downward, cycle of a painful life. If you and then you not only they have to know what it is to get out. Okay, you're asking for help. You're inviting them, please help me, please give me blessings, but you must be inviting someone who knows how to get out. Otherwise, they're just going to maybe just comfort you in the moment, right? But if you're in the middle of a forest and every tree looks the same and every path, you don't have no idea how to get out. You need someone who's been through the woods before and can get you out of there, You need someone who's done it, who has achieved those goals, someone who knows the way and who knows it correctly. Can they really tell you how to get there? If you have a guide that's not guiding you properly how to get there, you could waste a lot of time. A lot of time. And we don't have that kind of time. It could be a danger to do it alone. You also waste a lot of time to do it alone. You really do. You really do. So you have to get a clear picture in your mind of how the teacher also manifests the teachings to you, right? Because we're still testing them. We're still looking for this, we're still trying to see, is this going to be the guide for me? Is this where I need to go, right? So you're thinking, well, here are the teachings. Then how is the teacher manifesting the teachings? Are they hurting others? Do they act kindly to others? And so on and so on. It's one thing to find someone that can tell you how to follow correctly the ways of the path, but as we're looking for this person, now you find somebody, you say, okay, I think they can help me. I've tested them. Things are good. I'm feeling they can help me get out of this suffering in my life. They could help me help others get out of suffering and stuff like that. And then the question really is, can you follow what they say? That's the next step. Can you listen to what they tell you? Your Lama has been following you life after life after life after life. They are always there. They never leave you. You just may not have noticed yet. Can you recognize them? Then can you hear the words they are speaking? Then can you even follow the words they're speaking? Can you see the ways they demonstrate to you are pure and proper ways to act? How much time do you spend on testing them and looking for them and judging the teachings and all that, rather than looking at yourself? Not only must you find them, but once you find them, are you capable of following the instructions they give you? Then on top of that, it's a lot of work, but on top of that is, how do you behave towards your teacher? And this is very difficult to teach, especially when you are teaching, some of your students. It can seem as if the teacher is teaching these things maybe for their own self-interest. Guru Yoga is very hard to teach, because it's you're trying to tell somebody how to act with a teacher and you're teaching it. It's hard. So it's very hard to explain to you. And normally teachers don't give such a teaching themselves openly. Often you're hiring teachers to do it to your students and things like that, hiring, it's like we're paying. No. You know what I mean? It's nobody. You usually just say, there's a subject, like I just went before. I said, you have to study this extensively. It's like that. That's usually what you say. Oh, you have to study this extensively. And you don't get into it, right? It's like, oh, there's this subject. You have to behave a certain way around your Lama, and and you have to learn that. And that's it. Okay? But the thing is, it's the one teaching that is essential for you to know. If you're interested in living a spiritual life and helping others, then you must find one who can show you the way. And you must act properly with them. And it's like, if you don't act properly with them, you can say, it's like if you had a broken back, which I can't even imagine, but that's pretty drastic, right? You have a broken back, and you're trying to lift something up. That would not be acting properly. It will definitely hurt you more. We can all agree with that, and that's exactly how it is. It can definitely hurt you more. And then you can think in knowing how to relate to a spiritual teacher, how to honor, respect, have reverence, and humility. All these things are essential. it's like, okay, so what's the reason? You know, why? We can look at it in one way. Buddha Shakyamuni, 25,000 years, 25,000, 2,500. We can go back 25,000. Where were you then? Nowhere. They do say you're at the highest point you've ever been now, Rich. You're probably right. We just keep getting better and better. Hopefully. I hope you do. Buddha Shakyamuni, 2,500 years ago, in the form of Buddha Shakyamuni, right? That body passed on. And many of his disciples said, you know, how are we going to survive without you? How can we get by? We need you here to teach. And Buddha said that I will come in the form of a person who is similar to me, similar to you. So they come in a form. The enlightened beings come in a form to you so that you would be able to see them. You will not have enough goodness to see a light body of an enlightened one in front of you. If they look like a normal person, you'll be able to relate to them. If you saw them in their enlightened body form, you wouldn't be able to relate to them. Even though they appear in this human form, you still have to have that honor and respect and reverence and humility to the highest object. Because they're not human. And just when you get close to someone, you're feeling a relationship with your Lama. You see them as holy and enlightened, you know, because you've done good meditations, good Ganden Ligama practice. They will appear to you to do something that is really not only normal, but something that puts a question in your mind. You know, the test is, how will you respond? Will you pick up the dog with the maggots, as Master Asanga has? Or will you just let it lie there in the street and miss meeting your Lama for the zillionth time they manifested for you? The Buddha is sitting in front of you all the time. You live your whole life with angels around you. You just don't recognize them because you don't have the virtue. It's your deficiency, not the deficiency of the Buddha's compassion, not the deficiency of your heart Lama. Some people spend a long time looking for a teacher. They're looking for certain qualities, but then they keep finding defects. And then you have to reach a point where, just as you do with everybody, right? You know, anybody you're in a relationship with, you have to realize at some point that is your projection. It's coming from you. It will be the same with your Lama. Even though more than others, you might be looking at this person as this wonderful being, right? Still, they're going to do something purposely to throw you off, because the test will be, how do you respond? So, to remind us, though, also when we're looking for this perfect being, that's going to be human looking, right? Because that's what we have the virtue to see, is, how do you say? First of all, regardless of what they look like, how you see them is crucial. You know, the qualities. you should honor, respect, pay high regard to them and all that. And why? Because of what you know of how they are going to take you out of suffering, and how you're going to learn how to do that for others. You know, what's the point of serving and even honoring a teacher? I mean, what's the point, really? Do you think they need it? Is it for them? Trust me, it's not. It's for you. When you respect them over and over, constantly, the power and the transmission of all the enlightened beings must come through them. Must come through them. Because they are channeling the enlightened beings. You're seeing them as one. It must come through them. Because you are seeing that. You know, you can pray every day waiting to get close to an angel, but when you take your own spiritual guide and make them your object of devotion, they are there day by day helping you. Everything you wish for you'll get, and more. You center your meditation on your direct teacher, and if every divine power doesn't come to you, at least it won't hurt you. At least it won't hurt. You can't lose anything. What have you lost? An hour of time that you meditated? Nobody's going to say yes to that, right? And then just and you're feeling this devotion to someone. And we spoke a little bit about it. They are not self-existently that. They are your Lama. It might not be somebody else's. Okay? So, even the word Lama, you know, is referring to your Lama, right? Lama so-and-so is. You say that when it's your Lama. Because if I'm going to say, oh, teacher so-and-so, they are not my teacher, then why are you calling them that? Be very clear. Be very clear. That is not a part of someone's name. It's not Mr. and Mrs., Smith, or Mr. and Mrs. Jones, It's not, you know what I'm saying? It is your Lama. It's the one who teaches you, your root Lama. That who is called Lama to you. No one is a self-existent Lama. No one is. No one's a self-existent teacher. You know that. You've sat in classes with teachers, especially in school. You've sat in classes like that, and you learn nothing. You didn't even pay attention. You remember that class. They're not going to remember you, half of those kids, right? They're like, and some will. Some will. I can remember, I think Mrs. Johnson, Mrs. Favor, she drove me crazy. But, she had an effect on me, right? So you remember certain teachers in school, right? And some you can't even remember. Then what they taught, you don't. That's how it is, because some were your teachers. Some really were giving you some really good teachings there, and some, I don't know, you missed it. What can you do? But if you don't use that word loosely, seriously, you see in advertising, Lama so-and-so teaching so-and-so, they're not Lama so-and-so until it's your Lama. Be careful about that. Okay? Remember the emptiness of a teacher. They are what they are because of you. Not because of what they are to someone else, or because of some letters you put in front of their name. And then you're starting to focus in. Well, then who is my Lama? Then you're starting to focus. You're focusing on, well, then who are those heart teachers for me? Who is that one teacher that's going to take me all the way? They may send you to study with a teacher for a reason. But you have to go beyond that. Go beyond the idea that it's just a teacher. You have to find your heart teacher. And know that there's a difference. Just know that there's a difference. You will get many, many teachings. You will have many, many teachers. But there's going to be that one. And you want that one. You want it. You want the personal attention. Who doesn't? Well, sometimes it's nice. Right? We all like that. We're all very independent here. Sometimes you just want to be left alone, right? Yeah. Right? Because it's not always fun. When you find your Lama either, it's not always fun. Sometimes it's really, really hard. Really hard. Actually, sometimes it's harder. And that's why I think we avoid it for so long. It makes it easier to have the guidance, but it's much harder work. But when you're looking for your heart Lama, in your mind, we have this vision. They should be this majestic, this enlightened, wonderful, so on and so forth, body of light, being. But you'll know when you meet them, they may not look like that to you, but in your mind, you're thinking that. You're looking at somebody, you're not necessarily, seeing somebody who looks perfectly regal and majestic and, and of a certain type and form. Be careful of that. We tend to think, oh, this teacher should look like, I don't know, have light emanating out of their nostrils. It doesn't work that way. They might be picking the nose as they're going down the street, and there he is, right there, the one for you. And you missed it. Just know that. Just know that. Don't look at the outer appearance. Look what's inside. And, that's how we can recognize them, not by the outside. Many demons, you can say, can take on the form. I mean, there's stories in the scripture, of even demons who took on the form of Lord Buddha. But, you could imagine people, it's not such a big skill to change form, temporarily. So you could never really tell. They could 1 minute appear to you as this, majestic, and then switch. So you can't base it on that. You can't base it on that. I knew I had one retreat that I did, and it became very, very clear to me. I was dreaming. I had a lot of dreams, and it was very hard to get started in my retreat. And I had a lot of dreams, and I would have these dreams of people I knew were coming in my dreams. And they were doing all these crazy things. They were trying to get me to go out, and play and do things, out of retreat, of course, right? Because you're in a boundary, you can't go out. And not only that, they're trying to get me to go out to do these, un-retreat-like things. And they're also trying to get through into my retreat. But they're all people I know. So it's very tempting. Because I know them. I'm familiar with them. These faces are familiar. And then you know how it is when you're dreaming. Suddenly they look like someone, and then they're not that person. It kind of shifts in the middle of your dream. And I woke up, and sometimes they also keep you in this, because you're in there, and it's so active, it's so lively. I could still visualize this one retreat where I had these dreams. And you wake up, I almost have to look at the walls, like, oh my God, did they really come through? I remember I was checking this wall. They came through. And they were trying to get through my psalm. And it was very clear to me that these were the demons taking on the form of familiar faces just to see what I would do. Because if they didn't look familiar to me, would I follow them? Would I go out and play? Probably not. Wasn't that interesting what they were doing, you know? And it was very clear that that could be the case, even when I'm not dreaming. Then I woke up late and I missed a meditation session. I mean, you know, it's dangerous. So they could be, very likely, disguising, you know, trying to make you feel comfortable, so, you know, so they can take you on a path that is not correct. So you can't look at the outside. You can't. You just can't trust that. That's something that can be, but you must go by their actions. You must go by their words. You know, are they hurting you? Are they hurting others? You know, are they kind to others? Are they lying? Are they stealing? Are they, you know, so on and so forth. You must go with that. Because no one could really pull that off for a long period of time unless it's true. That will tell the difference. You know that. You've been in relationships. They looked good for how long? Then all of a sudden they're doing things. You're like, God, I never knew they would do that. You know? I mean, right? They start acting in funny ways, and you're like, They still might even look good. But the way they're acting, and, you know, it just doesn't mesh with how you would like someone to act. But their outer appearance might still be very attractive to you. And then you're like, I can't get out, because, you know, you understand that. Because then you're, right? So you can't go by that. It's not going to hold up for very long. It's the inside, it's the actions, what they say, what they do, what they think, that's going to make the difference for you. Then it doesn't matter what they look like. You know, we always say that, but we do. Oh, I don't care what they look like. You care. You care. A teacher is empty. Their nature is empty. So depending on how you treat them, you will get energy in return. If you treat them as normal, then you're going to get normal kindnesses back to you. Your motivation determines the outcome. If you think that they're an enlightened being, then they will act like an enlightened being to you. Most of the time. Because you're not always thinking they are that. You know, you're doing this and you're doing that for them, then you open the door and you say, hey! You lost it for a second. Where'd it go? Out the window. Right? Instead of like, oh, excuse me, Holy Lama, right? You open the door, hey, what's up? You know. Where'd it go? Not that you shouldn't feel comfortable, and not that you shouldn't feel that you can, you know, once in a while just talk to them like that. And you will be able to. You will be able to. But that's when you'll know when you're able to, because you'll know where your mind is. You'll be able to be comfortable and talk to them about, you know. They'll probably clue you, because they'll probably say that to you. You know, the teacher is like an actor, you know. A play put on for your benefit. They will act as an enlightened being. Whether they act as an enlightened being or not depends on your motivation. How many plays can a Buddha put on? As many as there are countless beings around. Is as many faces and forms they can be. They come in countless forms. Inside, completely enlightened being, no matter what form they appear. So if you can achieve this conception of your Lama, then you must get the power of an enlightened being coming to you, pouring into your heart, The extent in which you have received knowledge is not based on the knowledge given to you, but rather to the extent in which you perceived them as having certain wisdom to give you. If you go to a class and think that you know all about that teaching, oh, I've heard that, I know about that teaching, whatever it is, whether it's pottery, whether it's Dharma, whether it's, piano, whatever. If you go into a class and think you know about that, how much do you think you're really going to learn? You just walked in and said, I know that. What are you going to learn? You can't take in any more wisdom if you say, I know it. I know all that. I'm full with that information. What else is going to get poured into you? So you have to, if you think that you excel the qualities of the teacher, then they cannot give you those qualities. And it doesn't matter your level. If you haven't reached Buddhahood, then your level is not at the highest. You have to recognize that you need a guide in order for someone to guide you. So somehow you plant the seeds in your mind now. Try to treat your teachers special. Recognize the teachers in your life. Contemplate how they all may be an emanation of your root Lama, who has been following you for eons previous to this life. Always gaze upon your teacher with awe, respect. The teacher is useful in your life for everything you do all the time. Everything. When you're sad, they may lighten your heart. When you're happy, they give you something higher to follow, which makes you happier. Or there's always that time when they're hard on you, just when you need it, maybe just when you had too much pride or arrogance. It's not all fun. You must have devotion to receive this, though. The devotion of a student is what the compassion of a teacher hooks onto. And then you have that relationship with them. If there's enough devotion in the student's heart, then the teacher can pull them into the mandala and teach you personally. They can give you all the personal advice that you're ready for. And if the teacher reaches out to you with their compassion, are you ready to listen?
Or are they good enough to say it in the way that you can hear it? Like astute enough. I don't mean good enough.
Who?
The teacher.
Somebody want to answer that? They are saying it perfectly for you. The question is, can you hear it?
I guess you hear it if they said it perfectly for you. That's what I'm saying, and that's how you select your teacher.
You still have to hear it again and again and again and again and again sometimes, even though it was perfectly for you. If we could catch every single word they say every time, then it would be easier. Sometimes perfectly for you is again and again and again on that same thing. Even though, so you might not catch it all the time. Maybe because you're not quite ready, but you're ready to hear it again and again and again because you need the feed to hear it like that. You know what I'm saying? So it might not always be heard to you. Does that make sense?
What I'm trying to say in a way, and I don't know if I've said it properly, is that even with you, I've met a lot of teachers and I've studied a lot of teachers, but the way that you say things I can relate to and understand.
Exactly.
You say it in my language, so I really do hear it, and maybe it's only because when I met you I was truly ready. I don't know that answer either.
Okay.
That could be it, but I
Yes.
still feel that, and what I tell people when I ask them to come see you is that you say things in a way that we can really understand and pick up on and use.
Hopefully they can as you do. Because that depends on you, right? But it's a good wish to have. And it's, if you, sometimes you can hear it, but then when are you ready to follow it? It might take a while, right? I'm ready now to do this, you say, right? That's what I'm saying mainly here. Even though you hear it and it does make sense, then it takes a while sometimes to say, oh, now I'm actually ready to follow that. Right? So there's something that happened by hearing it again and again in a way that relates to you. And then suddenly something opens and says, wow, now I can do this. Now I'm ready to do this. Like that. It's a certain point that you get at, because you do, there comes a point where you have to say, I am ready to follow the instructions, because it won't always happen. And you may say, yes, I'm ready, and you keep saying it, yes, I want to do it, but then you demonstrate you're not. You know? Because sometimes what will happen is they'll just give you a taste. And you can relate to it, right? Because it's just a taste, and it's for you. Just to see how much you can take in. And then you do something to indicate whether or not you could take it in even further.
Just a question. I'm looking at my own experience. I didn't actively seek the teacher, although not consciously.
Yeah.
And then suddenly I was in this place, and there he was, and boom, it was just like that.
Exactly.
I didn't quite know. I had no idea why I was there consciously. And that, I did not go actively seeking, but I wondered, do the teachers find the student sometimes, or is the student always in search? And you just
Student is always in search. The teachers have been there. You just noticed him, boom, at that moment.
Okay.
They're always there. They're waiting. Right? Good question. It's when you feel that suddenly you arrived. They were there.
Well,
you know?
I had no one to ask, what is happening, because...
You don't, because you almost don't know what it is that's happening.
It took a while. And
exactly.
It was, okay.
Yes, sometimes it does take a while, and sometimes they're there watching, like, okay, how long is this going to take this one? Seriously. I could just see my lamas looking at me like that. The patience they must have. Unbelievable. We have a resistance, a little bit of a resistance, to this. Saying that I need a guide. I need someone to help me. There's a bit of resistance that we have. Because when someone says to you, okay, you have this teacher, and it's the very root of all your happiness. Okay? It's, what does that trigger in your mind? It's going to make you the happiest you've ever been. Just think about what that just triggers in your mind. It'll shift. You'll get different feelings with that. One moment you'll be like, yeah. Next minute you'll be like, I don't know. How could that possibly be? You'll question, how could that possibly be? The root of all my happiness? Everything? Every single thing? You tell me, what does that trigger in your mind? Okay? And then someone says to you, oh, not only that, they're going to be the root of all your happiness. You have to honor them. Put the top of your head down at their feet. It is extremely hard to surrender to a teacher. Extremely hard. It's hard to surrender to those words that I just said. To hear them and to say, oh yeah, I'll do that. No problem. Come on. We're all pretty much grown up here. Well, Jordan left. He's, right? You know how hard it is. It's hard to surrender to even the teaching on surrendering. All your defenses will come up. All your excuses why you can't do it now. You'll have all these reasons why you can't do it now, why you can't do it to this person. You can spend years looking for the one. The one. Because it is the one, right? All your goodness is going to come from the one, the source, the root of all my happiness. See? Right? Look for the one who urges you to practice. Keep it simple. Okay? The one that actually inspires you the most. Something opens in your heart when the words speak directly to your heart. That's what you were saying. Okay? Like you were the only one in the room. Just look for that. And again, I say to you, it's difficult to talk about these things, As a teacher, it's hard to teach it. But I know that many students float around getting lots and lots of teachings and float around for years, gathering great teachings, and you should. You should. But you don't really know how to surrender to a heart lama. And that's what's going to make all those teachings work. That is why it is the source of all your good. It's going to take all those teachings that you've gathered and listened to over years and years of time. It's going to make them, it's going to get you to have the realizations about them. There's something that happens in that relationship. That doesn't happen if just by receiving teachings from different teachers and this and that. It doesn't happen. We have a resistance to the idea of surrendering our whole life to someone. And then you put all your trust in this one being, right? You give them this one being to give you every single advice on what to do in your life. Every single thing you do all day is part of the path, right? So they're giving you advice on every single thing that you do in some way, whether it's directly or seemingly indirectly, right? But you have to remember, that because you are following the teachings, not only in meditation, not only when you're in class, but in everything that you do throughout the day. So you remember that the world is your mandala, and your teacher will help you create every single inch of that mandala. They'll open the doors of the mandala to let you in, to seeing. And they will teach you whether it's how to build a sidewalk, how to lay down cement, fix a meal, lift a table, sit properly, pay your taxes. Everything is Dharma. Okay? Dharma means all things. And one day it will be very clear to you that there is not a separation between the teachings, the Dharma, and the world you live in every day. It is the mind that wants to distinguish and make them different. There is no separation. If you can get to this point, you will have true renunciation. Not worry so much about all the things you have to give up. You gotta, let go of this. You gotta not be attached to this and that. It's not about that. It's an attitude that you have to change. Don't worry so much about what you have to, throw away and stuff like that. Just give your life to your teacher and you will gain so much. So if you behave as if they are enlightened, right, then you will get all the power of that will pass on to you. That's really the key here. Okay, you check it out for yourself. You give it a try. You surrender. Change your view. Things will change. Things will change. Just try. Just try it. If it doesn't, get you amazing results, then just try. Even if you're seeing them in this way and you're trying, right? Even if it seems to you that all they do is give you a hard time, tell you how you're not doing it good enough, they push you over the edge to your breaking point, right? I've had many say to me, you think I can do more than I can? Yeah. You can reach enlightenment in this life. Yeah. Duh. And all you're talking about is a 10-minute meditation. And they're saying, but you think I could do more than I can? Yeah, you can get enlightened in this life. Each and one of us here. So you push them, a little bit, and just when they're about to give up, you have to pull them back in. Right? Something happens. They feel your hand pulling you. They feel your hand. You pull them back in. So instead of experiencing the Lama pushing you over the edge, you jump. And you take the leap and you surrender. What do you think they're pushing you to? To surrender. That will lead you to your teacher closer. You will find inner peace that way, and you will find someone to have this relationship with. There is nothing higher than spending all your days by your Lama's side and serving all beings in this ultimate way, by getting to enlightenment as quickly as possible. If you understand emptiness in any way, you understand that the world doesn't work in any other way. You should thirst for this relationship. You should thirst to be a master of serving others. You should desire to get to that place quickly, now, right away. There's people waiting for you. You in particular. They're waiting for you. And to serve others, to be there for others, takes years of training from a great master. The master will give you everything you need. They will not hold back anything. They will just pour it into your heart when it's open. They're the source of all your good, of every good thing you have. And again, you have to know that you need to have such a master in your life. And wish to gain all the blessings that they can give you. Know that they are willing to take you step by step by step till you reach the highest of happiness. A true teacher will inspire you to learn. And they should put a fire in your heart. You can't learn it from books. You have to have that contact. You have to have the energy that passes from one being to the next. That's outer and inner. You know, it's necessary. And I really pray that each one of you here now finds this holy friend very soon, very soon. I mean, if you feel in your heart you have made this ultimate connection with someone, then properly ask them to be your guide. Then just do it. Don't wait. Just ask them. It'll make a very big difference once you ask. Very big difference. And you won't know till you do it. There's something about that asking, right? You know, when you ask for help, it's a little different than just imagining someone's going to help you. Which one usually gets them there quicker? When you get on the phone and say, can you come over and help? Or if you're sitting there laying down, oh, I hope they come, I hope they come, I hope they come, I hope they come. You tell me which comes faster. Who comes faster, huh? Maybe you feel you have a very strong connection to somebody, and if you hope they come soon enough, then they will. Maybe. You know? We think we still, are very, we're all young. But we think we have a lot of time. We do think that we have this huge life ahead of us. And we're not in danger of dying soon. We really generally think that. Even if we're not 100% well, physically or something, we still think that. This will pass. I'll get better, Our life is as temporary as a flash of lightning, as the sea froth of a wave. Our life is no more permanent than a flash of lightning in the sky. Realize that others are suffering and they are waiting for you. Develop as much compassion as you can, to get that to urge you to move quickly, to help others. You also have to really feel that you want to get out of it yourself first, right? Somehow. And that you can only benefit others through your enlightenment. You can only do this if you really realize that first you need to be led, and then you must find someone to guide you. And then that will be the cause for you to be able to lead others out of their suffering and to lead them to ultimate happiness. You will take them there. You will help them. You're gathering such great knowledge by these teachings, by these wonderful prayers that we are so fortunate to study. But have the highest goal as possible in your mind. Why not? You'll gain so much more. If you're traveling, and you're traveling across the country to California. That is your goal. And you're on the way and you're going down the road, it's going to take a couple of days, but you'll reach the closer places first. So, and then you keep going and you're getting closer and closer. So if your destination is short, right, then you're only going to be focused up to there. You're going to stop. You're not even going to make it to the other end of this country. Yeah. Where am I? Don't limit yourself. And then once you get to the shore of California, take a boat, go further. It's pretty nice over there. Set your sight on goals that are high as possible. So you listen to the teaching with the motivation of a bodhisattva as much as you can. we're on to a new text, right? The source of all my good, Yuntin Shiguma. It's very short lam rim. It's a summary of the entire path that you need to get to enlightenment. Jason Kappa made a supplication to Lord Atisha around 1400, thereabouts. Went to a statue of Lord Atisha and did many prayers that he spoke while at that place. And there's one prayer that he did, Lama Chok Dorje. It's called the door to the highest path. In the middle of that prayer, there is a section called Chunla Pongshu, which means the mountain of blessings, which is requesting and begging for a heap of blessings. The word blessing refers to the blessings of all the Buddhas of the universe, a great mass of all things heaped together in one place. And the reason it's called that is the prayer addresses the vast range of practices that you have to do, to how to serve a teacher up to, from there, because that is the first step of the Lam Rim, okay, up to reaching enlightenment. There's all the stuff that happens in between, okay? So there's a lot of blessings to get on that path. There's a lot of accomplishments to achieve. Therefore, it is a great heap, and we are begging to receive this mountain of blessings. He was begging. The section called Mountain of Blessings later came to be called Yuntin Shogima, the source of all my good. So, in the middle of asking Lord Atisha for help, Jason Kappa speaks out these 14 verses. Just speaks out. He in his mind, the whole Lam Rim Chenmo, which he wrote, is like, he just condenses it into 14 verses in this prayer. You know how when you're praying out, you condense it into one line? Yeah, well, we should be so lucky. But, you can imagine, right? That's these 14 verses. It's the most concise, extraordinary Lam Rim ever spoken. 14 verses of everything you need to know for your whole spiritual practice. So who are we asking for this mountain of blessings from, right? We still have in front of us, all day long, especially today, right? The same holy beings who were there during the, 1,000 angels, heaven of bliss, right? Gantanirama. Sitting in the center is your root Lama, Jason Kappa. Inside his heart is gentle voice Manjushri, who is the image of the Buddha's wisdom. The visualization. Bring it back, okay? Bring it back. In the heart of gentle voice, is Vajradhara, keeper of the Dharma, the Buddha, or the secret teachings. Just bring it back as much as you can of the visualization. Within his heart is the letter Hum. Beg for the blessings to grant you every knowledge up into enlightenment, to your root Lama. And you got to, and you know that you have to be taken step by step by step by step by step by your guide, one by one, to the highest secret path, very soon, because that is the only way it's going to happen in this life. It begins with the root of the path, cultivating a proper relationship with your spiritual teacher. Based on that foundation, how to train your own mind. The teacher is the source of how to train your mind. That practice. Yuntin kungi shege junsen se sushin tempo lamgi sawaro lepa tone bepa du mayigu pa tempo tempa jingilo. The source of all my good is my kind Lama, my Lord. Bless me first to see that taking myself to them in the proper way is the very root of the path, and grant me then to serve and follow them with all my strength and reverence. Please stay with me. Please keep teaching me. The first line, the source of all my good is my kind Lama, my Lord. They say, I've been told, you don't need to know the rest of the prayer. That's all you need to know. You can forget about the other 13 verses. The first verse is enough. You are the Lord. You have been so kind to me. You are where it all comes from. If you really get that, then, your Lama will take you step by step. You will go through all the steps with them. They can't tell you what to do until you have taken them as your Lama. Get it? You can read on as all you want, and you won't go anywhere. You might have some vision of where you're heading. Might be helpful. I think that's why we have to go through it. Because we kind of like to know that, right? As much as we can. But you tell me, do you know what you're going to look like when you get enlightened? Do you really need to know? Well, you should visualize it, actually. You should kind of play around with that. What do you want to look like? How am I going to see you?
Some poking at you.
They do that. They do that. This verse is covering the first steps to enlightenment. The first step is so important, again, that you can almost divide all the steps into this step. This verse is expressing the idea that we must learn how to find and then serve and learn from a true spiritual master, a teacher who can teach you. Your root Lama is the foundation of everything in one sense, because they teach you and you learn those things and you gain those qualities. But in another sense, they're the foundation of all the things, in the sense that they are the embodiment of all the enlightened actions and speech and thoughts of every enlightened being. And you have to keep hearing that again and again. And I know we've said it a couple of times this weekend, but you have to keep hearing it again and again, until you at least have a moment of really feeling that there is someone right there in front of you that is that. And then how long can you keep that vision? How long? We can look at some proofs. We like those things, right? If you think there's, your teacher is the embodiment of all the actions and the words and the thoughts of an enlightened being, right? We can establish it through scriptural proof, which basically we did that by saying, the Buddha saying, I will come to you in the way of a form of a teacher who is most appropriate for you, who you can see, who you can relate to, right? We call that scriptural proof. That's one, for example. And then logical proof is, if you think about what an enlightened being would be like, what would a being would like to do for you, it would be what? To help you. If they are enlightened, they would like to do most with their whole life is to serve other people and bring other people to happiness. They normally do that by coming to you and teaching you of how to bring that about for you, happiness. Because that's the way that they can help us, is by teaching us. So in that sense, if you look around at the person who is teaching you, they must be a combination of the enlightened beings in the universe. Because all the enlightened beings in the universe want to help you. So whoever is teaching you must be hooked up with all the enlightened beings. You can just, that's a little bit of logic. There must be some connection, some kind of connection. You can think of it, are they channeling them? Are they related to them? I mean, you figure out the connection. But you can almost say 100% there must be a connection. And then to the extent in which you feel the connection is the extent to which you will receive what they are giving you. And we've spoken about that, right? You know, there's characteristics that you can look for as you're trying to seek. You know them. I know some of you know them here. You know, you want to look for some other proofs as whether they're qualified and what you see. Do you see that they have controlled themselves with morality? Do they have concentration with wisdom? You know the list, right? Have they perceived emptiness directly, or at least intellectually? They're working towards enlightenment, not this life, you know, and so on and so forth. We can go through the list. Because then actually they say at the end, you know, it's in these degenerate times, you're not going to find someone with all those 10. You know. But they must possess in pure form the lineage blessing of the teachings and explain it in a way that is not corrupted. They must have that connection, right? They must be hooked up with all the enlightened beings. Right? They must be a person who has achieved some kind of discipline and some control in their manner so that they can demonstrate how the teachings are manifest within them. They will inspire faith in you. They will have the ability to bring about a change in their students who have enough virtue. Who have enough virtue. That's like a... Yuntin Kungi Shugu Drinsense, source of all my good, Masi Lama, the source of all virtuous qualities. Drinchen Je, great kindness. If you're successful at anything, you must have had the kindness of a teacher, or someone to show you, whether it's your mother teaching you how to tie your shoelaces or whatever. It was a kindness. They didn't show you these things from an unkind motivation. So there's some kind of gratitude that one should have because of these kindnesses. Someone who spends day after day, year after year teaching you, they stick with you no matter how much it takes, no matter how much you fight against it. There's some kind of gratitude that must stir up within you, right? They continue with patience, you know. They, as you take your time, they continue with patience to just keep doing it, to keep helping you. Then they finally see something shift in your mind. You realize their great kindness. The only way to recall their kindness is to have some sort of faith and reverence in the one who's showing you these things, right? Without wavering. However grateful you are is as much as you receive. Now I'm going to go through a list, the last of the list for today. The teacher has granted you 3 kinds of kindnesses. They have taught you, they have spoken to you these words that can change your life by teaching you over a period of time. They have blessed your being. That's one. They have taught you. It's a kindness. No matter what it is, they taught you. 2, your being has been transformed by the blessings of these teachings. By the understandings you have gained. You are transformed. Your mind is transformed. 3, they take care of you. Mentally, emotionally, materially, no matter what it costs, they will provide with you all the text that you need. They will give you all the teachings you need for free at cost to them. No matter what you need, they will give it to you. They must. Even if you don't notice it much, they do. Then there's a secret set of 3 kindnesses. I didn't tell you there were 3 sets of 3 kindnesses, right? The secret set of 3 kindnesses is they will grant the student a secret empowerment. The secret initiation. So the student is then allowed to study the secret teachings. Okay? You give them an empowerment to study the secret teachings. That will get you to enlightenment much faster, quickly. And then they will give you, they have the kindness of explaining to you what happened during that empowerment. And to continue teaching you on that, to lead you along the secret path. And then the third one is they'll give you also private advices of what to do. The things you cannot read in the book. He'll take you in a room and say, look, you need to be doing this and this and this privately to you. Then there are 3 kindnesses which relate to the 3 sets of vows. Praktimosha vows, those are your basic, those are the top 10, and Vinaya vows, ordained vows, Praktimosha vows. So if you're a lay person, it's the basic vows of ethical conduct. 2, Bodhisattva vows, right? That's engaging in the perfections, generosity, patience, vows to keep a certain code of life, how do you say, taking responsibility to help others. Then there's the tantric vows, which are similar to the Bodhisattva vows, but they're kind of jacked up a whole level, because it works faster. Works much faster. Much faster. So, those are 3 sets of the 3 threes. Whatever. No.
Praktimosha.
No, the vows, Praktimosha. What? Yeah? Yeah. Praktimosha. Not harming others. Okay? Bodhisattva is like helping others, and then Praktimosha is kind of like not harming others. You can generalize in a sense. Pretty much, you could say that, yeah. And to speed up doing those things so you can get there quickly. Yep. So within that, there's all sorts of techniques to do that. So when you speak of the kindnesses of your personal teacher who works with you day by day, the kindness of every enlightened being in the universe, which is bigger? kindness of the teacher that's there day to day telling you what to do? Or all the enlightened beings in the universe? Which, huh? We don't have enough power, enough virtue to see all those enlightened beings in the universe anyway, helping us, nevertheless helping us. Go ahead. I mean, we could try. We could close our eyes now and I can see all of you as an enlightened being. I'm the last one. Thank you for letting me teach. You know, so I can collect some virtue. I know you're all enlightened in there already. I can go with that. You know, I've got to just go through this to collect virtue. You can do that. You can try to imagine you're the last one and there's everybody here as an enlightened being already and you're there all waiting for you. So you manifest as all these people that I got to teach and, you know, not sleep for a weekend and, you know, do this. Thank you. It's, you know, you can go with that, but it's really hard to keep that view, especially in New York City, right? It's fun. You could really try it in New York City. There's so many people here. I can't see all the enlightened beings in the universe at once helping me. I can maybe see that teacher helping me. So they are the ones that are going to help me if I let them. They're working very hard, using every means they can, as tricky as it may be, to get you to do the right thing. Whatever works, they will do it. The immediate teacher who is around you, you can compare the kindness of your immediate teacher and the kindnesses of all the Buddhas. And we know that the Buddhas have eliminated every fault they have. They have gained every high realization. There is nothing greater, but we don't have the karma to be around them, to know we're around them. But on the other hand, you have this teacher who is, you know, grinding away, working, you know, every day, trying to get you to just be a good person, do the right thing. To you, that is infinitely more kind, infinitely higher kindness. That is another meaning of kindness that you must recall in this very first line of the text. See why you don't have to learn the other verses? This is so much already, right? Yeah, but you know, we need to. Okay? Sushin Tempa Langi Sawaru. We're going to go through them anyway. In relation to that teacher, you should relate to them proper manner. Refers to the benefits of serving properly and the disadvantages of not serving properly. So proper taking myself to him or her in the proper way. The relationship, tenpa, the relationship between you and your teacher, asking for blessings to have a proper relationship with this teacher. It is a very fragile relationship. They do not die. They do not leave you. They do not disappear. Guess what? Your karma runs out. That's why they appear to leave us. They're very slippery. You know, a good Lama is extremely rare. Your personal Lama is extremely rare. Once you make contact, you have to control your heart and mind. You know, you try to stay aware of how precious this relationship is. Once you're able to be near a Lama, you suddenly, trust me, you suddenly will have obstacles to be with them. Often the obstacles manifest just based on whether or not you appreciate them, your gratitude, your faith that they can help you. Realizing that they are helping you with every single word that comes from their lips to yours, your ears directly. Once they're, you know, to even just realize that, to be thankful for that. As much as you can be thankful for that, grateful for that, it's as much as is what will hold the relationship going. So once they're in your grasp, don't let them go. Do all you can to keep them. Really. Think about the kindnesses they have given you. Just think about them. Think carefully about what they are doing for you. Then automatically you'll feel some kind of faith in them. Because you have faith that they can help you. They're being kind to help you. You have to recognize the kindnesses that they could possibly do. If you thought someone was giving up their life to teach you, then you can have some sort of love. And you can take that leap of faith. And have devotion for them. Thinking of their kindness should be trigger enough of faith in you. Having that faith will protect you from what we call the faults of a student. What are those? Of course, it's all coming for you, so there's got to be, fault of the student here. Right? Failing to submit to your teacher, failing to take yourself to a teacher, right? To surrender to the teacher. And then, okay, I surrender, right? You reach a point where you say, okay, I surrender. I found a teacher. I'm going to do it. I've been told I need to have this guide. I found it. All right, I'll do it. He talked me into it. All right, 3 days. Okay. All right, I'll find one. Right? You do. You will reach that point where suddenly it'll click, and you'll say, okay, I'll do it. But then, the next day, okay, I surrender. But then you'll be like, but wait, not all the way. I have some conditions here. Okay, I'll follow, but not exactly the right way. I'll do it my way, Right? We all know that one. Yeah, that wasn't the tune, but you know what I'm saying, right? Yeah, I'm going to do it my way. I surrender, but wait, it's on my terms. And sometimes we don't even consciously say that. We just do it our way. You just do it. You just carry on and you just do it. And you'll get by for a while like that, actually. It'll work for a little while. And then suddenly they're gone. Or suddenly you have to move. Or suddenly, just things will come up. They're slippery. We have such perfect guidelines. Hey, look, we're spending all these guidelines, right? I didn't make any of this up, right? We have these perfect guidelines. You don't even have to think what to do, really. Just follow them. See what happens. But you can test them. You can do that. I mean, you should do all that. You should do that. You don't want to always just follow things blindly, and we teach you not to do that. Debate it, analyze it, test it as gold. Do that. But know that those guidelines have been there for 2,500 years and has worked for many people. Just know that as you're testing it and stuff like that, that maybe there is something there that is. So if you thought about their kindnesses, then you would automatically have a feeling of some kind of devotion. Automatically you would want to serve them. You would want to keep that kindness coming, wouldn't you? Someone's nice to you. I mean, come on, right? You want to keep that kindness coming to you. Why not? But instead, what do? We see flaws. We say, oh, but wait, they're not perfect. I'm not going to surrender all the way. I can surrender, I'm not. Then you start, wavering, thinking they're nice, but really they aren't the kindest person I know. Let me think about it. Maybe there's someone kinder out there. And they say to us, do you know how hard it is to pretend to have these flaws for you? because the student is the one who is not perfected. So if you met a perfect teacher, you wouldn't feel comfortable. Because you wouldn't be able to walk into the room and open the door and say, "Hey." If you see that your teacher has just a couple of problems, needs a little bit of help, then you can relate to them, you can study with them. Because you still have those qualities. So you need to see that. Okay? So the teacher must have the kindness to show you enough flaws and faults to make you feel comfortable. And just think about it. Suppose a teacher does have a problem. You do see something and you're going to say, okay, there really is a problem out there, a little bit of problem. Just try to not concentrate on it. Don't let that become your focus. Don't just sit there and look for them. Okay, let me see. Let me just wait. They're going to do something. They're telling us to meditate here, but look, they open their eyes. We have to sit here for 15 minutes, but look, they're opening their eyes looking at us. Come on, you know who I saw, right? You're thinking, oh, they don't really meditate. You're looking for it. We do that. We're waiting for that one thing. Don't just sit there and look for them. It's really amazing. We do that. But you have to always remember they've done so much good for you. They've taught you this precious thing. And if you practice it, you will become happier. And you know it because if you practiced it, you are happier. You know it. So why not concentrate on the good things they've granted you? We tend to focus on the lacks, not think of all the kindnesses they have paid us. But because you are concentrating on that, guess what? That will become you. Would you rather concentrate on the qualities of an enlightened mind, or do you want to concentrate on their imperfections? Because whatever you focus on, you will become. Do you want to focus on the angel that you will become, or do you want to focus on the imperfections of the holy, sort of enlightened being you will be? There is no benefit in watching out for their faults. You don't have to look for them. There's nothing in it for you to be concentrating on the mistakes. There's so much in it for you to focus on their kindnesses. Just even if it's for your own interest, just focused on the cool things about them, the good things about them. And everything will turn out better for you. And remember, they are not self-existent enlightened. They are not a self-existent kind person or being. It is all based on your kindness. If you can see your teacher as enlightened, you will generate the form of that angel within yourself. Sashi puki juksing metok chang Rira bling shin yende gempadi Sangye shingdu mikte uwagi Jokun amdak shingla drupashok Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Niratayami Kewadi kewogun Sunam yeshe tsotsokshing Sunam yeshe lejongwe Tampa kunyi topasho. Thank you. Good work today.
Thank you.
Really. It was a long day. You did it.
So did you, good.
We have 2 more sessions tomorrow. We'll do the rest.